You know how everyone keeps saying content is king these days?
Yeah,
But honestly, with everyone churning out content online, it feels more like a battlefield than a kingdom.
it's true. Every company is trying to get their message out there.
It really makes you wonder how anyone can possibly cut through all that noise.
That's the million-dollar question. And it's why we're seeing such a huge shift towards what some people are calling the creative revolution.
Interesting. Tell me more about that.
Basically, it boils down to this. Companies need to think of themselves as storytellers, not just marketers.
I like that.
We've got some great insights on this from Dr. Emily Reed, a cultural anthropologist,
Okay,
and James Bennett, a digital strategist who's worked with some really big brands.
perfect.
We've got a transcript of a podcast they did together, and they have some really interesting thoughts on how to really stand out.
I'm all ears.
What I found really fascinating is how they both emphasize that storytelling isn't just some trendy marketing tactic.
Oh, yeah.
It's actually something much deeper.
In what way?
Well, Dr. Reed points out that storytelling has been a part of human nature for millennia.
Oh, absolutely.
It's how we make sense of the world, pass on knowledge, connect with each other.
It's so true. Think about it. It's so much easier to remember the plot of your favorite childhood story than it is to recall, like, specific dates from a history textbook.
Exactly. Stories tap into something primal.
Okay, so how does that apply to the business world?
Well, Bennett really hits on this point in the podcast. He argues that storytelling is more important now than ever before because of the digital landscape.
I can see that.
We are just bombarded with information constantly. Emails, social media ads, everywhere you look.
It's overwhelming.
Exactly. And in this kind of environment, a strong narrative is what helps you stand out.
Like a beacon in a sea of information.
Yes, it's the difference between being just another brand shouting into the void.
And actually forging a genuine connection with your audience.
You got it. So it's not about being the loudest.
It's about telling a story that resonates.
Exactly. But that begs the question, how does this actually translate into real benefits for companies?
What do they actually gain?
Well, both Reed and Bennett highlight three key areas where storytelling really makes a difference.
Let's hear it.
Okay, the first one is building authentic connections with your audience. Consumers these days are smart.
Oh, yeah.
They can sniff out inauthenticity a mile away.
Absolutely. People crave genuine connection and transparency from brands.
Right, and storytelling allows brands to kind of pull back the curtain and show their human side.
Their values, their purpose, the people behind the product.
I'm with you. So instead of just saying we're eco-friendly, a company could tell the story of how they made their product 100% recyclable.
I see. Show the challenges they faced, the solutions they came up with, even the people who are passionate about making that change happen.
Exactly. It humanizes the process and builds trust. And trust is so important for any kind of lasting relationship, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. And without that authenticity, it's hard to make a real emotional impact.
And that's the second area where storytelling shines.
Okay, bring it on. I'm ready to get emotional.
Have you ever made a purchase that wasn't exactly rational?
Oh, all the time. Like that ad with the rescue dog.
Yeah.
Always ended up buying that branded dog food because I loved their commercial.
See, that's the power of storytelling at work. It evokes those emotions, laughter, tears, inspiration. And those emotions are what drive us to take action.
Makes sense. It's like they're going straight for the heart.
They bypass all those logical defenses.
Well, there's a reason we remember stories so vividly.
It's because they activate the emotional centers of our brains, boost our memory, and make the message stick.
Wow. So strong emotions lead to deeper connections and better recall? Okay, I'm convinced. But with everyone trying to tell a story these days, how can you make yours stand out?
That's the third area where storytelling really shines.
I'm listening.
In a crowded market, features and prices can be copied pretty easily.
True.
But your brand's unique story, its origins, its struggles, its triumphs,
Right.
that can't be replicated.
So it's about more than just having a good product.
It's about creating a brand with a personality, a voice that can't be copied.
I like that. Are there any companies who are doing this really well?
Oh, tons. Think of brands like Patagonia or Nike.
Okay, yeah.
They've built entire movements around their values.
They're more than just products.
Exactly. They're stories. And their stories attract customers who believe in what they believe in.
It's like they're creating a tribe.
Yeah, a community of people who identify with their narrative.
So we've talked a lot about why storytelling is important.
Oh, why?
But what about the how?
How to actually put it into practice.
Yeah, where do you even begin?
Well, luckily, both Reed and Bennett have some great advice for companies who are just getting started.
Okay, I'm ready. What's the secret?
First of all, don't overthink it. You don't need some Hollywood production to tell a great story.
You.
Start small. Find one true story within your company that really embodies your values, and then just share it authentically. It could be the founder's story, the journey of a passionate employee, the experience of a happy customer.
I see.
The most important thing is that it feels real and genuine.
Got it. So find a story and tell it from the heart.
You got it, but remember, it's not just about talking at your audience.
Oh,
It's a conversation.
okay. What does that mean?
Well, you need to know your audience. What matters to them? What are their dreams? What keeps them up at night?
Ah, so you're saying you need to make sure your story resonates with them.
Exactly. This has been a great overview of the power of storytelling.
It really has. We've covered why storytelling is so deeply human, why it's crucial in today's digital world.
And how it helps companies build authentic connections
Create emotional impact.
and stand out in a crowded market.
We've even touched on some practical ways to actually get started with storytelling.
But before we go any further,
Yes.
I think it would be great to look at some specific examples
All of that.
of companies that are really killing it with their storytelling.
Yeah. Let's see how this works in the real world. I'm ready to dive in.
So when we talk about companies that are really nailing this whole storytelling thing,
Yeah.
Patagonia is one that always comes to mind.
They're like the poster child for building a movement around their story.
Right. They're not just selling outdoor gear.
It's deeper than that.
They have this whole narrative about environmental conservation and social responsibility.
And they really walk the walk.
Absolutely. They've woven that story into every part of their business.
Their products, their marketing, everything.
It's not just lip service either. They're willing to take a stand on issues.
Even if it ruffles some feathers.
Exactly. And that actually strengthens their bond with their core audience.
So their customers aren't just buying a jacket or a backpack.
They're buying into a set of values.
The whole lifestyle.
It's about belonging to something bigger. And that creates a level of loyalty you just don't see with most brands.
Okay, so Patagonia is a great example of weaving values into their narrative.
Yeah.
What about a company that's really good at emotional storytelling?
Oh, Nike, for sure.
Those Just Do It ads.
Classic. Their campaigns are all about athletes overcoming challenges and achieving greatness.
Pushing their limits, inspiring us to do the same.
Exactly. They tap into our own desires.
Be our best selves.
Right. And they make us feel like we can conquer anything.
If we just buy the right shoes.
Well played. It's a marketing strategy, of course.
Sure.
But it works because it's rooted in real human emotions.
It's not just about the product, it's about the feeling.
You got it. And you know what's really interesting?
What?
Storytelling isn't just for huge companies.
Oh, tell me more about that.
Smaller businesses can use it just as effectively.
Really? Do you have any examples?
Yeah, there's this little bakery I love.
Okay.
The owner is a single mom who built this whole business from scratch.
Wow.
And she shares her story, the struggles, the triumphs, everything.
That's awesome. It makes you want to support her.
Right. You're not just buying a loaf of bread.
It's about her dream.
It's about connecting with her on a personal level. And that keeps people coming back.
So whether it's a global brand like Patagonia or Nike or a local bakery,
There's this common thread.
authenticity.
Exactly. They're not trying to be they're not.
They're just being themselves.
And that's what resonates with people.
So what does this all mean for our listeners?
Whether they're running a business or just interested in storytelling.
Right. What's the takeaway?
It means that everyone has a story.
And those stories have power.
They can build trust, inspire action, create real change.
So we need to tap into that power.
Ask yourself, what's my story? What are my values, my passion?
What challenges have I overcome?
Right. And once you know your story
Share it.
authentically, let people connect with the real you.
This is great stuff. But it feels like a pretty big shift for a lot of companies.
It is. But it's worth it.
Is there anything else we should keep in mind?
Just remember that storytelling is about connection, not manipulation.
Right. You're not trying to trick people.
You're inviting them to be part of something.
Building relationships, not just closing deals.
Exactly. And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe your story will be the one that really makes a difference.
Now that's inspiring. We've covered a lot of ground today.
The why, the how.
Even some really cool examples of companies who are doing it right.
We've seen how storytelling helps build those authentic connections, creates an emotional impact, and helps brands stand out.
And most importantly, we've learned how to tap into the power of storytelling ourselves.
But before we wrap things up,
I'm ready for more.
I want to hear from you. We want to hear what really resonated with you about this whole idea of storytelling.
What stood out to you?
And what's one thing you can do today to start crafting your own narrative?
And if you're feeling inspired but maybe need a little help getting started,
Studio 86 is here to
we're
help.
passionate about helping businesses discover and share their stories.
We've talked a lot about the what and the how of storytelling.
Right.
But embracing this approach is really about so much more than just tactics.
It's bigger than that.
It's about changing how you think about your entire business.
A fundamental shift
Exactly. It's about moving beyond just transactions.
and building real human connections.
People don't just buy products or services.
What do they buy?
They buy into stories, emotions,
They
values.
want to feel a connection.
So if you want to stand out and really resonate with your audience,
Yeah.
you have to start thinking like a storyteller.
In every part of your business.
And remember those key questions we talked about. What's your story?
What drives you?
What are your values, your
And
challenges?
Your triumphs.
It's all about digging deep.
And finding what makes you unique.
And then share that with the world.
Authentically.
Exactly. It's a journey.
Not a destination.
Don't be afraid to experiment and try new things.
See what works.
The important thing is to just start
Start telling your story.
today.
And if you need a little guidance along the way,
Studio 86 is here to help.
we can help you find your voice and share your story in a way that connects with your audience.
We love helping businesses unlock the power of storytelling.
So if you're ready to take the leap,
We'd love to hear from you.
that's it for today's deep dive into why every company needs a storyteller, not just a marketer.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Until next time, keep telling your story